Welcome to a new edition of the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino. On this episode, we talk with the creator and teacher of RISE Hypnotic Meditation, Mary Welp. She has a direct, adaptable, and easy 4-step process to access meaningful change in all lives. RISE is a meditation meets self-hypnosis. One addresses fears, habits, and imprints with RISE Hypnotic Meditation, along with increasing peak performance in many areas of life. We cover her life now, the past, and what she is hoping for as the post-COVID world looms. Enjoy this interview.
Thanks for taking a minute out. It's great to meet you.
Absolutely.
So let's start off here before we get into your work, and I want to know about COVID. How did you survive those 2 years, and how did that change you?
Oh, in so many ways. That is such an amazing question. It changed me in that all of my work changed, and I started to, in the quiet, when my office closed, since I was doing body work and it was one-on-one face-to-face work. So the office closed, everybody kind of dispersed, and I sat home thinking about what was next for me. I still had a lot to give, but I knew something new was on the horizon. And I really just sat with that, and what came from that was really an evolution in myself. I've never been a teacher. I've never been a public speaker. I knew very little about technology, and so it has been one learning experience after another that I'm so grateful for. And really, it's given me new life in a way that I couldn't have predicted 2 or 3 years ago. So I really chose to go inward with this and evolve with what was happening. And it really was a conscious decision because I knew I couldn't go back to the practice the way it was. It wasn't going to be right for my clients, and it wasn't going to be right for me.
So to simplify things a little bit and make sure everybody understands who you are and what you do, let's take you in front of a bunch of third graders at a career day at an elementary school. And one of the kids looks up at you and says, "What do you do for a living and how are you qualified?" How would you answer that child?
I would tell him that I went to school to learn how to help people look at their thoughts and look at their habits and the imprints that have been put upon them and decide what is right for them and to shift what isn't right for them, so that they can keep evolving and they can keep changing.
So let's go back to the beginnings of your life. Kind of give me an idea of where you were born and raised and kind of how these seeds of what you've become started.
Well, that's a long story, but I actually was born in Spokane, Washington, on the West Coast. My father worked for General Electric, and so he was transferred, and we moved about every 2 years till I was a freshman in high school. And then we settled in Louisville, Kentucky. I've been here ever since. Before I was 40, I was raising my family. I was a pastry chef. I worked in restaurants and catering, had a really different life. And then when I was 40, my father passed away in a car accident. It was another one of those turning points in life where I really stopped and through the grief, really realized I needed to pursue my best life and my gifts and talents, and realized I was really going along with culture too much and what was expected of me and how I was expected to dress and expected to perform instead of really just being authentically me. And once I invited the world to show, the universe really to show me my gifts, people started showing up and validating me and that I was a healer and that I could help people shift. People seem to come to me when they're ready to turn that corner and go a different direction. And so kind of being able to embrace that and see that in myself started to shift things. But I was 40 by then. So I've been doing this work for 22 years now and have worked with many, 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 many people. And they've really taught me how powerful the mind is and how much it can help us to, we can shift it. It's very malleable, really.
So when you wake up every day and do the work you do, what is it that you look forward to the most? We all have things that we want to get done. We all have things we look forward to. What is that for you?
Oh, for me, it's when I get to work with a client and they have an awakening, or all of a sudden things shift into perspective, or they see a clarity in their life in some way that helps them to lead a better life. And to help people with that process is extremely rewarding. And it makes me passionate about the work every day, to just get out and to whoever I can address and however I can help them, make myself available to that has been very rewarding.
So you have to parlay enough of yourself out to your clients. You have to help them out, but you also have to take care of yourself. How do you do that balance? How does that work for you?
I ask myself every day, I kind of check in. I make sure that I have at least one day a week where I can spend it the way I want to spend it, not fulfilling obligations. But really every day I check in, do I need rest? What kind of food do I need today? Do I need a nap? Do I need exercise? Do I need to take a second yoga class this week? And just, do I need a warm bath? Just that real self-care and checking in and making sure that I'm doing my work as well, and really trying to live my best life and watching my thoughts. Because if I'm expecting other people to do this work, I sure need to do it myself.
The other part, too, about your life is that, we're lifted up by the people that we, admire, look up to. Who have been role models or heroes for you in your life?
Well, the first one that I guess I really gravitated to was the Dalai Lama. I was in Maui doing a veterans workshop, and he was there to speak, and the island was just abuzz. And to hear him, he was so funny. He was so self-deprecating. He would laugh at himself, and he'd tell a joke, and he'd laugh louder than anybody else. And he was just such a different kind of spiritual leader than I'd ever been exposed to before. And so I really started going and looking at Buddhism and looking at just the philosophy of our own suffering and how we would create our own suffering and how much our thoughts create our suffering. And I think he was very instrumental when I look back on my evolution and coming to the work that I do now.
So what's been the best fan letter, so to speak, or client response you've ever gotten from somebody that resonates, that you think about?
Well, there was the one that got posted today on my Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn account, and it was a testimonial by a woman who took my workshop, and her blood pressure went down, and she went and saw her chiropractor, and her chiropractor noticed how much mobility she had, and her movement was better. Her sleep was better. She just felt better overall. And that was really, when the body can really validate the work that you've done, when your blood pressure does go down or your cholesterol kind of comes back in line, or you have some kind of physical metamorphosis with this work, which does happen, it's very validating that something really did shift.
If you have a dream tonight, you run into your younger version, say around age 20, and you could give that younger version a piece of advice based on the wisdom that you've gained over all these years, what would you tell your younger version?
I pushed. I saw, what I wanted or what I thought I was supposed to want, and I would push my life instead of just relaxing and let it unfold before me, instead of me following what was right for me. I was trying to fit into a form, and it wasn't very authentic. So if I just would have relaxed and just enjoyed the moment, life is fleeting. Every moment has its precious jewels to it. If we can just relax into it, even the hard ones, when we can kind of look at the lifespan and all that life teaches us through the hard moments too. It's complicated, but it's worthwhile.
So in the realm of art's very important to humanity. We learned that over COVID. What is it for you, whether it's a book or an album or something that you've always gone back to that really moved you early on?
Music. I remember as a young girl just lighting a candle, laying in my bed and listening to the radio, 75, 76, 77, all those good old times. And still now. I incorporate a lot of music in the work that I do, but there's a lot of great current, upbeat, motivational music. And I often turn on the radio and dance while I'm cleaning house or cooking dinner or whatever. But it keeps me light and it keeps me moving.
Beautiful. So talk to me a little bit about, is life going to speed up for you now that the world's opening up? Are there more things that you want to do now that COVID's kind of slowed down and the world's getting back to what we were used to from a couple of years ago?
Absolutely. I really started this practice in the pandemic, and I would announce workshops, and the classes would fill up, but then they'd be reduced in size by the time the class actually came around. If someone would get sick or someone in the family would get sick, and I'd have to cancel the class. So I'm really hoping that there'll be more group meetings, and I think now people are becoming more comfortable with virtual work. I've even done quite a bit of hypnosis virtually, and it's gone really well. It's been very successful. So, but I really miss the one-on-one. I love to travel, and I love to teach. And I think when we're all in the room together doing this similar type of work, it kind of amplifies it for each other. It makes it a little bit more powerful, and it also forms community, that we all struggle, we all have challenges, we all, face pain. And so it makes it not so lonely when you can share that a little bit with each other.
So everyone has a perception of you, your family, your friends, your clients, but ultimately you're the one living your life. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I'm a rebel. I think outside the box and I push the envelope. And I'm really proud of that. I also think I'm authentic, more so than I've ever been in my life. And I think I'm honest. I follow through. I'm diligent. If I tell you I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. If I tell you I'm going to be there for you, I'll be there for you. Yeah, I think I'm living my happiest time because I really am living in my passion and living in my purpose. And that makes me very happy.
So, Mary, if anybody wants to learn more about you and your services and what you do, where's the best place on the web for them to go?
RISEHypnoticMeditation.com. Sorry for all the letters, but I had to get it all in there. But it's RISE, R-I-S-E, Hypnotic Meditation.com.
Beautiful. Mary, this has been wonderful. Thank you for opening up. Good luck with everything. You sound very, you just sound like you're in a wonderful place, very wise place, and that's wonderful.
Thank you. Thanks for your support.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another famous interview with Joe Dimino, where we cover the world of art, literature, and music around the globe. If you want to hear more interviews, visit the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino channel on YouTube. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.